Welcome back here on the Senior Network. We were sitting here talking to Charlie and Bob, and the conversation came up, advanced directives. And I know you both deal a lot with that situation. So Charlie, tell me a little bit about, because you sit down with a lot of families, I know.
We do, and just to back up in my own life a little bit, when I was pastoring churches, I often were walking with families during this time period when they had not made any decisions, and one of my members would have passed away. There's a lot of confusion about how to move forward. There's a lot of healthcare questions. So the advanced directives are a critical component in end-of-life care.
Sure.
One of the tools that we use, among others, is the 5 Wishes advanced directive. It's really a fabulous document. It's easy to find online, or you can reach out to us or anybody, actually any hospice, Bob as well, and we'll put that document in your hand. The cool thing that I like about it, that's most encouraging about the 5 Wishes, is it also deals not just with choices for end of life, but it also deals with some of the emotional aspects. There's some things that you need to get right with loved ones. Issues of forgiveness, issues of asking for forgiveness. Those are the emotional parts that very often we forget about when you're in a, perhaps, I don't want to be judgmental on lawyers, but in the lawyer's office it's about specifics. But when you begin to break it down in the social aspects and the family aspects and some of the things that just really need to be dealt with in those times. And sometimes when you ask somebody to think about it, you'll see that look on their face. Oh yeah, I do need to take care of that. Yeah, this is real. This is very real. And the advanced directives are a critical part of that, and tools like the 5 Wishes are an important part of that.
And I can imagine by the time you're sitting down with them, it sure would have been nice if someone like Bob maybe would have got involved a lot earlier on, right?
Absolutely.
And Bob, I'm sure you experienced that, right?
I do, and it's something that, I mean, I'm passionate about everything I do, but I'm really passionate about this aspect of living your life. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. I think sometimes we all frame it the wrong way as final decisions, and they are, but what you're really doing is maintaining control. And all of us want to have control. We don't want to sort of, hey, whatever happens, happens. So you're maintaining control is one way to approach it. The other way to look at it too and to frame it is you're really giving this as a gift to your loved ones. Suppose something were to happen, and there's a lot of emotions for those that are your loved ones, and if they're trying to make decisions, thinking how you would have want them made, especially if you're in a critical medical condition where you can't make decisions, or if you passed away, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and to burden a loved one with that, that's a tough thing to do. So by explaining to people that you can have control. And I also say when I hand them the 5 Wishes, because I'm having a meeting with some people, not even clients, just associates this afternoon, and I have copies of the 5 Wishes to give to them. Just, by the way, here's what you might want to take a look at this. And it's more spiritual, and when I mean spiritual, I don't mean religious. I mean it's more reflective of what I think more about myself. So it's an important thing. And the third thing I often tell families is just do a draft of it. This isn't the final thing. Just write down your thoughts, because once somebody starts, they can usually put a lot of things together. So I'm really passionate about trying to get that in place. And from the legal standpoint, it really rounds out. The legal standpoint is more of a checkbox, and people have to make decisions on the checkbox. This adds a lot more color to that decision, and you feel much more comfortable. Especially if you have even a loving family that's trying to help and do the right things, it helps to have a lot more information. So that one person typically making the decision feels much more comfortable with that. And the other thing that I would say too that I really see a lot, and I urge people to do, is make sure you have your health care and your durable power attorneys set up in your plans, and your successors to those. Many times a husband and wife did a will 30 years ago and they have each other as power of attorney. Something happens to one, they might even not be able to find their will, but if something were to happen to the other where they couldn't make a decision, there's no successor power of attorney, and it's really important to have one of those.
That's what you were talking about earlier, right? Secondary power of attorney. I never even thought about it that way, but you're right, because a lot of the wills that we find are, like you said, 25, 30 years old, and if you even find them, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I know you don't actually prepare wills and estate plans and things like that, but you work with attorneys to do that, right?
Yeah, if somebody comes to us, we refer them to a handful of attorneys that, you know, basically specialize in estate planning, and we've met and sat down with most of them. And in cases, really frequently, 4 times in the last 4 weeks, we've been asked to serve as successor or actually the primary power of attorney for some people that maybe either don't have somebody or have somebody or want an objective group behind them. So we're happy to do that. But before we do that, we require that we take hours and hours of meetings with somebody so we can truly understand them, and then we keep in touch with them every 3 months and just make sure that we understand their needs and their desires, because they could change over time.
I didn't really realize you did that.
Oh, yeah.
And that, like you said, that takes a lot of time investment into making sure and the follow through, because things do change. You're right. That's interesting. So Charlie, because I know you've only been with us a few months here with Hospice Care Lowcountry, but I know you've had a very deep and richful background. I just wanted you to know that I know that I work with this company a lot, and it's great to have you on board, because I know that when we're in the homes, your role is hugely important to helping those folks get through the situation.
Thank you, thank you. All of us here consider it just an enormous privilege and an honor to be welcomed into homes, and we know that that we step into people's lives in very difficult times in their life. And just to echo Bob's thought a few moments ago about being in control, is that I really see what we do and my role is helping people get back into control of the most important days of their lives. Very little thought goes into the end of life. A lot of thought goes into the beginning, but very little thought goes into the end of life, and more needs to be. And so I
agree 100%.
Absolutely.
Great way to end the show.
Thank
you so much for joining
you.
us today, okay? Thank all of you for joining us here on the Senior Network, where senior care experts come together. We'll see you the next time.